इंडिया न्यूज आपके साथ मैं हूं शुभ्रा सुमन। ITV नेटवर्क एक शानदार प्लेटफॉर्म के जरिए खबरों की दुनिया में एक और बड़ी कामयाबी हासिल करने जा रहा है, जिसका नाम है डिफेंस गार्डियन। डिफेंस गार्डियन एक डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म है जहां रक्षा क्षेत्र से जुड़ी हुई हर जानकारी मौजूद रहेगी। डिफेंस गार्डियन को औपचारिक तौर पर सेना प्रमुख जनरल मनोज नरवणे लॉन्च करने जा रहे हैं। हमारे सहयोगी आशीष सिंह हमारे साथ हैं जो इस सिलसिले को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। आशीष, ओवर टू यू।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया शुभ्रा। और इससे पहले कि हम इंडियन आर्मी चीफ जनरल नरवणे को वेलकम करें, मैं दर्शकों को defenseguardian.com के बारे में बता दूं। सबसे पहले तो ऐसे समय में जब LOC, LAC, समंदर में, हवा में, मैरीटाइम, एयर डोमेन, सब जगह पर इससे ज़्यादा टेंशन इंडियन मिलिट्री में पहले कभी नहीं रही है। कारगिल के वक्त भी इतनी ज़्यादा टू फ्रंट वॉर वाली सिचुएशन नहीं थी जितनी कि अब हमें पिछले एक साल से देखने मिल रही है। दूसरा, मेक इन इंडिया को लेकर जिससे जॉब्स इन्वॉल्व हैं, इकोनॉमी इन्वॉल्व है, किस तरह से भारत की आत्मनिर्भरता होगी रक्षा क्षेत्र में, ये इन्वॉल्व है। तीसरा, न केवल इंडियन आर्मी, नेवी और एयरफोर्स इंडिपेंडेंटली अपने लेवल पर ग्रो कर रहे हैं और चेंज हो रहे हैं, बल्कि CDS और डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ मिलिट्री अफेयर्स फॉर्म होने के बाद से लगातार तीनों के बीच में, तीनों सेनाओं के बीच में किस तरह से इंटीग्रेशन होगा, किस तरह से एक दूसरे के साथ में बेहतर तरीके से काम कर सकेंगे, इन सब के बीच ये तीन वजहें जब हमें निकल के आई तब हमें समझ में आया कि इससे बेहतर समय नहीं हो सकता था एक ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म का, एक इस तरह के मीडियम का निर्माण करना जिससे कि जो लोग सीधे डायरेक्टली डिफेंस के लिए क्या कुछ हो रहा है भारत में, चाहे वो मेक इन इंडिया हो, चाइना हो, पाकिस्तान हो, समंदर में क्या हो रहा है, हवा में क्या हो रहा है, एयरफोर्स क्या कर रही है, नेवी क्या कर रही है, और तीनों सेनाएं किस तरह से अपना एक नया रंग रूप लेकर आ रही हैं, जो कि 2021 से शुरुआत हो गई है। इसलिए हमने defenseguardian.com की शुरुआत की। और सबसे पहले मुझे याद है साल भर पहले हमारे मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर कार्तिकेय शर्मा ने जब कहा था कि हम इकलौता एक इस तरह का न्यूज़पेपर बनेंगे जो कि डेली गार्डियन के नाम से पिछले एक साल से आ रहा है, उसमें एक पेज रोज़ केवल और केवल हम रक्षा से जुड़े हुए खबरों को देंगे। और उस एक साल के परीक्षण के बाद में उसे लगातार हमने बेहतर करने की कोशिश की, और उसके बाद में जब हमें एक बेहतरीन रिस्पांस मिला लोगों की तरफ से, सर्विस हेडक्वार्टर्स, आर्मी, नेवी, एयरफोर्स, तब हमने सोचा कि एक नए प्लेटफॉर्म की निर्माण करना ज़रूरी है। और इसलिए अब हम कार्तिकेय शर्मा की लीडरशिप और उनके विजन के तहत हम defenseguardian.com लॉन्च कर रहे हैं। तो जैसा मैंने बताया कि इससे बेहतर समय नहीं हो सकता था, और हमारे साथ में जो दो शख्सियत जुड़ेंगे, इंडियन आर्मी के चीफ जनरल MM नरवणे और इंडियन नेवी के वाइस चीफ वाइस एडमिरल G अशोक कुमार, इनसे बेहतर कोई सर्विस हेडक्वार्टर्स में हो भी नहीं सकता था जो मीडिया मिलिट्री को बेहतरीन तरीके से समझे। और इसीलिए इंडियन आर्मी चीफ जनरल MM नरवणे के हाथों, जो कि चीफ गेस्ट हैं हमारे इस लॉन्च में, उनके हाथों अभी कुछ ही पलों में defenseguardian.com लॉन्च होगा। और हमारे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर होंगे नौसेना के उप प्रमुख वाइस एडमिरल G अशोक कुमार। इनफैक्ट मुझे अभी जैसे बताया गया है कि इंडियन आर्मी चीफ जनरल MM नरवणे हमारे साथ में लाइव जुड़ गए हैं इंडिया न्यूज़ पर। जनरल साहब, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस, टेकिंग आउट टाइम फ्रॉम योर बिजी स्केड्यूल। बिफोर वी गो फॉर द ऑफिशियल लॉन्च, योर थॉट्स ऑन द defenseguardian.com.
Thank you very much, Ashish, for giving me this opportunity. And as you have mentioned, digital media has become an inseparable part of our lives, and it offers a wide variety of facts and opinions about so many topics and issues. And defense-related issues are also part of them. The launch of Defense Guardian by the Daily Guardian is an encouraging step towards using digital media for increasing awareness on national security and defense-related matters for domestic as well as international audiences. I wish the platform and its team all the very best.
Thank you so much, General, for your encouraging words. And on that note, I would request you to let's proceed with the launch, something that we have been waiting for almost an entire year, working hard on this, the entire ITV team network, to ensure that the viewers and the media consumers get a proper platform, a niche medium and platform like defenseguardian.com. On that note, sir, let's proceed with the launch.
again my best wishes to the Defence Guardian and its entire team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, General Nirwane, for the official launch of defenseguardian.com. And on that note, since we have the pleasure of having you with us on India News, I want to utilize this opportunity to ask you a couple of questions, something that viewers have been wanting to know what's exactly happening along the LAC between India and China. But at the same time, as I was mentioning in my opening part, that India has not felt two-front tense situation ever in last few decades as far as the Pakistan and China are concerned, both along the LOC and LAC. I want to understand from you, what's the current situation along the LAC and LOC with China and Pakistan respectively? How prepared we are?
I'd like to start off by saying that the current pandemic situation has no way affected our operational preparedness, be it on the northern front or the western front, and we are prepared to meet all kinds of challenges. As you would recollect, earlier this year in February, the first half of February, we had the agreement for disengagement with the PLA, and in the second half of February itself, we had the understanding between the DGMOs of Pakistan and India regarding the ceasefire. Now, as far as the disengagement is concerned, both sides carried out the disengagement as was agreed upon, and this disengagement was based on the principle of mutual and equal security, and that is what was the basis of the agreement that was chalked out. And both sides have carried out this disengagement, and it has been followed in letter and spirit. Similarly, along the western front, the ceasefire understanding which was there of 2003 but was not being observed, this understanding has been revived, and I am happy to say that since the 25th of February, in the LC area of the Union Territory of J&K, there has been no ceasefire violation. But that does not mean to say that we will not carry out our counter-terrorist operations, because the terror and the terrorism and the infrastructure related to that still remains. And therefore, we reserve our right to carry out such operations as and when we feel that they are due. But overall, I would say that the situation along both the borders, the northern and the western borders, is somewhat stable now, and that has given us an opportunity to recalibrate our strategy and to see how to deal with all these possible challenges.
Okay, let's see how our adversaries continue to behave. They have been pretty I would say calm and composed in the last few months, but it will be interesting to see how both Pakistan and China react in next few months. In addition to that, sir, since we are dealing with the pandemic and the country has just started coming out of the second wave, although the numbers are still worrying, but the numbers are almost 25% to what it was almost a month ago. I want to understand from you, how did the Indian Army tackle the earlier two waves, and how prepared is Army for the third wave that's been talked about?
Well, not only for this current wave, but even last year when the COVID was still just starting, even then we had raised or given a lot of importance on force protection. And in dealing with the second wave, along with force protection, we also gave equal importance to infrastructure augmentation. The second wave, of course, was much more serious than the first, but we were able, because there are efforts which were taken towards force protection, we were able to limit the number of cases in the Indian Army to a large extent. And as I said earlier, this in no way impacted our operational preparedness. But side by side, we were also doing our infrastructure augmentation and helping the civil administration also in coping with this crisis. Just to give you an example, in the middle of April, we had about 1,800 oxygen-enabled beds. But when this surge happened, and we also went into mission mode, by the middle of May, this number increased to more than 5,200. So this is the kind of ramping up that we could achieve. Similarly, we reached out to the civil administration in all the states. The senior-most military commander in each of these states spoke to the chief minister, spoke to the chief secretary, and in concert with them, as part of a partnership between the civil and the military, we saw what best we could do to come to the help of our fellow citizens. And I'm happy to say that as a result of all these efforts, we were able to reach out and ameliorate the sufferings of a lot of people. And now, because of all this, the capacities that we have built up will definitely come in handy if at all there is a third wave.
Thank you so much, General Nirwane, for taking out time from a busy schedule and agreeing to be the chief guest for the defenseguardian.com launch special broadcast. On that note, तो अभी आपने सुना कि इंडियन आर्मी चीफ जनरल एम नरवाने, हम दोनों फ्रंट पर पूरी तरह से तैयार हैं. सिचुएशन बेहतर है, लेकिन अभी इसे टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड ले नहीं सकते. हमें पूरी तरह से तैयार रहने की ज़रूरत है और वही इंडियन आर्मी दोनों फ्रंट पर, LOC पर पाकिस्तान के साथ और LAC पर चाइना के साथ कर रही है. तो आपने सुना defenseguardian.com लॉन्च के स्पेशल ब्रॉडकास्ट के चीफ गेस्ट इंडियन आर्मी चीफ जनरल नरवाने से. अब हम चलते हैं गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर इसी ब्रॉडकास्ट के इंडियन नेवी के वाइस चीफ वाइस एडमिरल G. Ashok Kumar. Admiral Kumar, thank you for speaking to us and taking out time from your busy schedule. First of all, before we move ahead with the couple of question and answer, your thoughts on the defenseguardian.com.
Thank you very much, Ashish, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure, interacting with you, and it's an honor for me to be here at the launch of defenseguardian.com. I must tell you that, as you're aware, the Indian Navy is known as the silent service, and it is forums like these that help us reach out to our countrymen and explain to them as to what we do day and night towards protecting maritime interests of the nation. I wish you the very best. I do sincerely hope that the defenseguardian.com achieves glory and huge success in the times to come. I'm aware that a lot of Indian naval officers write for your forum, and I'm sure that will continue to. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, Admiral. The first thing first, something that has happened just a couple of days ago, and that is about the Project 75 India submarines. That has been one of the biggest in terms of the amount that has been approved by the Defence Acquisition Council of the Ministry of Defence. I want to understand from you and help our viewers understand P75 India, where the submarines will be built in India. This is certainly going to be a follow-on to the P75, the earlier one which is being carried out at the Mazgaon Dock Limited. How do you see this will be changing the manufacturing aspect, the India's defence aspect as far as the immediate future is concerned, specifically from the SP model point of view? P75 India is the first and currently the only SP model approved project by the DAC. How do you see this changing the Navy's face, the MOD's face under SP model in the immediate future?
Yes, Ashish, it's a very timely question, because just a couple of days back, the DAC has approved the strategic partnership model for the 75 India, which is a long-awaited approval for us. This, as you mentioned, is the first of the strategic partnership model approvals that we have received. It's a huge step. So of course, with the strategic partnership model being new, there are many fits and starts that the whole process has been through. But finally, the big plus is this, that this is not the first time that India would be constructing submarines. We have had the SSKs constructed in the late 80s, early 90s, and now, of course, as you're aware, the Kalvari class, the Project 75 with NG and the MDL is being built at MDL. 3 ship submarines have been commissioned already. But the big difference here is that this is not something like a licensed production. This is more of a technology transfer. So what that enables us is this, that in future, we'll be able to design our own submarines, we'll be able to construct our own submarines, refit them, repair them, and maintain them for forever. So strategically speaking, our dependence on say some international OEM would come to an end with this. So this whole facility would be available in country for the future.
Certainly, and this is something that's going to change completely as far as the manufacturing of defense equipments in India is concerned. It's going to be one of the biggest projects that the Indian Navy would be looking forward to, and there are major contenders for this particular project. Admiral, before I let you go, I must ask you on something that has been talked about a lot, and this is something I see as Prime Minister's pet project as far as the defense is concerned, and that's Make in India, the Atmanirbharta as they call it. Now, what I want to understand from you is basically we have been hearing a lot on that, but how the situation on ground, how's Atmanirbharta in Navy is actually progressing on ground?
In a big way, let me assure you, in a big way. I think this is a right call for each of us to take. Atmanirbharta, our self-reliance and not depending upon some external sources can always be a strategic strength for the country. As you're aware, the Indian Navy has really been at this for many decades now. Of course, with the current policies in place, it's only got a much needed fillip. As you're aware, the positive indigenization list, the first one was announced in August last year with about 101 items in it. And this year, just recently, we had the promulgation of the second list as well. And these we will not be going abroad to procure from any OEM hereinafter, because the country has developed the capability. In addition to that, you're well aware as to how our shipbuilding is almost entirely Indian. The Indian Navy currently has about 41 ships on order, with just 2 of them being built somewhere else. The rest, all of them, including an aircraft carrier, which is at Cochin Shipyard Limited, with excellent destroyers being constructed in the Mazgon Docks Limited, with frigates, the Project 17 Alphas being constructed both at GRSC and at MDL, and very many different kinds of ships being constructed all over the country. I think we've achieved a sense of self-reliance when it comes to shipbuilding within the country. That's one. In addition to that, there are a lot of things that we are doing. As you're aware, last year, the Honorable Raksha Mantri launched what we call the NIIO, or the Naval Indigenization and Innovation Organization, and that has actually given a huge amount of fillip. It's basically building a relationship by the Navy with the industry and the academia. On that very day, which was launched by Honorable RM and with the Honorable Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh in attendance, we did sign MOUs with the SIDM, the Society for Indian Defence Manufacturers. We also ended up signing MOUs with RSU Gujarat and the makers at Cochin. We have gone on to set up chairs of excellence in leading universities in the country. A couple of IITs, the SRM University in Chennai and the RSU, of course. And in addition to that, we intend hosting annual seminars with the industry and academia. We also started a very, very nice initiative of what we call the INSTEP, which is Indian Naval Scientific and Technological Education Program, Student Technical Education Program, which is nothing but an internship for children who are doing engineering in various universities with whom we have the MOU. So this internship will actually help us provide them with certain amount of projects for them to undertake to the benefit of the nation. So I think indigenization is the way ahead, and the Navy is fully invested in the process.
Thank you so much, Admiral, for taking out time and joining in this special broadcast of the DefenseGuardian.com launch, the youngest and the smartest of the ITV News Network as far as the digital platforms are concerned. On that note, so आपने सुना कि किस तरह से इंडियन आर्मी चीफ, जो कि चीफ गेस्ट है हमारे DefenseGuardian.com लॉन्च के, और इंडियन नेवी के वाइस चीफ वाइस एडमिरल जी अशोक कुमार, जो कि गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर थे, काफ़ी ज़्यादा तैयारी की जा रही है आर्मी की तरफ से भी, नेवी की तरफ से भी, और एक्सटर्नली ही नहीं इंटरनली भी, चाहे वो मेक इन इंडिया हो या फिर चाइना या पाकिस्तान। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया इस ब्रॉडकास्ट में जुड़ने के लिए। एक छोटे से ब्रेक के लिए रुक रहे हैं, जल्द हाजिर होंगे।